Hi, I'm Matt Shepard, and on this edition of Shep, Shower, and Shave, football nonsense has begun in August. Glad you're with us. And by the way, you want nonsense in football? You're getting it if you go someplace other than Fifth Avenue for your fantasy draft party. Folks, it doesn't make any sense to go anywhere else. Stop having it in your basement. Your wife is pissed off at you because of the cigar smoke and all the beer cans that are left behind. Maybe some of your kids are pretty excited because they get the returnables. If you want to become the most popular fantasy football commissioner ever, schedule it at Fifth Avenue in Royal Oak. It's your fantasy football draft headquarters. Think about what you're going to get. You're going to get a private area. You get free Wi-Fi. You get a draft board. You get a large pizza. You get a dedicated server who's going to bring you drink and food specials for your league. And you get a Fifth Avenue fantasy football playbook for each person with 17 weeks of special Fifth Avenue deals. It is simple to sign up. Simple. All you got to do is email them, fantasydraft@fifthavoyaloak.com. The fifth is spelled out. Fantasy Draft Party at fifthavoyaloak.com. We're also brought to you on Shep, Shower, and Shave by Nate Noth Designs. His work on Instagram or Facebook is one of a kind. It really is. And he designed our logo of Shep, Shower, and Shave. We're also brought to you by Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech is the HVAC school. Get trained, certified, and into the field in only 10 and a half months. They have flexible hours that allow you to work while you're helping grow your career. HVAC is all they teach. To learn more, go to their website, northwesterntech.edu, or call them today, 248-358-4006. Let the football talk begin, again, on whether or not a college football powerhouse can beat a weakened and downright bad NFL team. I have never believed, myself, and I refuse to conform to the overzealous speculation. Hell, I can't even figure out why people want to talk about it in the first place. And then I read what Ohio State defensive coordinator Greg Schiano said recently, and that is talking about how great his defensive line is in Columbus and that it is the best he has ever had. And remember, he was in the NFL, and that includes the NFL. So let's first understand a few things and accept it. Schiano's a hell of a football coach. Really is, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Would you love to have him on your staff? You better believe it. You'd love to have him as your DC. Head coach, I'm not so sure, but DC, absolutely. His defense returned 7 starters from last year, a team that led the conference in defensive touchdowns scored. He knows the game. He knows his team. He knows the men he's coached a lot better than me. But I do believe many a coach has slipped into a trap where they have selective memory or get caught hoping to inspire their players through some grandiose words or get caught up in a moment. We've all been there. I think Schiano did just that when he was asked, without a game being played yet, if this were the most talented defensive line he's ever coached, college or pro. Big Ten Network asked him that, and he said it was. He said he had more talent in Columbus right now with the Buckeyes than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers D-line that he coached in 2012 and 2013. That composed of Gerald McCoy, Pro Bowler, Michael Bennett, world champion, not in Tampa, but in Seattle, but everybody knew how good he was. Adrian Claiborne, 20th overall pick out of Iowa, now with Atlanta. Impact player, right? See, this immediately spirals into people wondering if the Buckeyes can beat a bad NFL team like the Cleveland Browns. And then it's our job to remind people that Cleveland has guys like Corey Coleman, named the Biletnikoff Award winner his junior year at Baylor, and a unanimous All-American. They've got Joe Thomas, a perennial Pro Bowler. Kevin Zeitler, one of the best offensive guards in the NFL. David Njoku, a skilled and desirable tight end that some thought could have been the best at his position in last year's draft class. Cody Kessler, who you and I never would mistake for Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, anybody like that. But he was, just remember, coming out of college, 3-year starter at USC, who was among the best in Trojan history. Cleveland's got Myles Garrett. Now they're All-American, first overall pick. Would you have wanted him on your defensive line? Most people would have said yes. Danny Shelton, a 3-year starter at Washington, who wreaks havoc. Jamie Collins, key defensive figure in the Patriots Super Bowl run. Joe Hayden, a 2-time Pro Bowler who helped Florida win a national championship. Jabril Peppers, an All-American, Heisman Trophy candidate. You may not have agreed that he should have been a Heisman Trophy candidate, that it was all hype, that it was Michigan, that it was Jim Harbaugh, so on and so forth. Bottom line is, he is making plays left and right in Cleveland camp. Bottom line is, he's a first-round pick. Bottom line is, he's a hell of an athlete. The point is that Cleveland may be bad by NFL standards, and they are. I mean, I don't think they're going to win many games this year. But they still possess guys on their roster who have accomplished more than the Buckeyes have in their college careers, right? Just because guys at the collegiate level are good and get all kinds of accolades doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be great pros. The NFL is just different, okay? It is. Let's look closer to home at the Lions, okay? They've got guys on this roster who were incredible college players. Greg Robinson. I know what you're thinking. You know, he's the guy Detroit traded a low draft pick to the Rams and got him in return. He was the number 2 overall pick 4 years ago. And you're thinking, bust. Remember, I'm referring to Schiano in Ohio State, okay? Let me take you back to that. Greg Robinson was the highest drafted offensive lineman in Auburn history. Think about that for a minute. It's not Wofford College. It's not Wofford history. It's Auburn history. And yet he was traded from the Rams to the Lions, and he may not even start here because he's battling Cyrus Kwanjo, who in high school was the top-rated offensive lineman in the country, went to Alabama, helped them win a national crown, and yet he may not win that battle. How about this one? Wide receiver T.J. Jones. He played at Notre Dame. Pretty damn good school, huh? Absolutely. You know who he's battling for a wide receiver position on this team? Jace Billingsley and Jared Abbrederis. Billingsley is from NAIA Eastern Oregon, and Abbrederis was a walk-on at Wisconsin. Right? Think about this. You would think a guy who quarterbacked at the University of Miami, Florida, as a 3-year starter and is the school's all-time leader in yards, completions, and attempts, would beat out a guy who couldn't win the job at Iowa. It's not the case with Brad Kaya and Jake Rudock, at least right now. Okay? Brad Kaya had some impressive numbers. It's not like Miami hasn't had good quarterbacks. Kosar, Kelly, Walsh, guys like that. I mean, they put up good numbers. They won big games. Not all of them were great NFL quarterbacks. Kelly was. But still, Brad Kaya put up some impressive numbers. And I know the game has changed. I'm just giving you examples here. How do you figure a guy like DJ Hayden, a former first-round pick, has to contend with a guy like Nevin Lawson, who's from Utah State? Right? Different skill sets. And some guys just peak at different times in their careers. And certain coaches allow guys to reach their greater potential. Just maybe a matter of where and when they get that coaching. And I've gone over this with Lions fans in the past. We've talked about a lot of different things regarding their draft picks and people who are going, oh, man, they got to draft from big schools. And not that this is the ideal example. Jace Billingsley isn't even a draft pick. And he would never be a featured wide receiver per se. But the bottom line is, dude's a good player. The dude is a really good player. And he's a hell of an athlete, too. I mean, he's a 4-time state wrestling champ in the state of Nevada. He's a baller. He goes out and gets it done. Now, whether or not he makes this team remains to be seen because Jared Abbrederis is a hell of a player, too. And Abbrederis is, I mean, he just catches everything. I was at that mock game on Saturday at Ford Field. He was fantastic. T.J. Jones had a couple of big drops. He had a touchdown pass, too, and a lot of people wrote about that. What they didn't write was he had a key drop on a perfect throw from Stafford. Abbrederis caught everything. Got guys turned inside out, left and right. Not everybody has to be Calvin Johnson. Not everybody's going to be Des Bryant or Julio Jones. Sometimes, I mean, you could still move the chains with guys who are making good, solid catches. Okay? Speaking of the NFL, Jay Cutler signs a deal worth $10 million to Miami because Ryan Tannehill injured his knee in a practice, might be out for the rest of the year, and now the Dolphins go out and they feel like they got an opportunity. They don't believe Matt Moore is the guy. So what do they want to do? They want to go out and get somebody who is, I guess, proven. And people are all up in arms that Jay Cutler gets the opportunity. 34 years old, gets a $10 million one-year deal, could be $13 million with incentives, and Colin Kaepernick is left on the sidelines. And remember this, since Matt Moore's been in the NFL, he's thrown 41 touchdowns and 31 picks. So that's not terrible, all right? It's actually a little bit better than Tannehill. So people are upset over it. They're upset because they feel like Colin Kaepernick is not getting the right opportunity. He's being blackballed. Let me ask you this. You're a head coach like Adam Gase. He's a young guy. And I don't know how much Jay Cutler changes the opportunity for Miami to go out there and contend in the AFC East. I don't think they can. I mean, it's the Patriots' division. It's their conference. It's their league, really, and everybody else. But Miami probably feels like, you know what? I mean, we still think we're better than Buffalo and the Jets. So even if we finish as a runner-up to New England, what we have to worry about are teams like Kansas City and Oakland, maybe Houston and Tennessee, and a team like, Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or Baltimore. We've got to contend with those teams. And we feel like Jay Cutler will be able to do that. Remember this. Jay Cutler played only 5 games a year ago, but when he had Adam Gase as his offensive coordinator in 2015, he threw for 3,400 yards, completed close to 65% of his passes, and had a very good touchdown to interception rate. So if you're Adam Gase, would you not go with the guy who you have worked with before? Would you not go with the guy and this is tough for you and I to admit, although you and I probably aren't Chicago Bears fans or Jay Cutler fans or whatever, isn't it hard to admit, say, I trust a little bit more? I'm serious. Why is it so off base that a guy like Jay Cutler would be chosen over a guy like Colin Kaepernick? Oh, that's right, because Jay Cutler has that sourpuss attitude. Right. I forgot about that. See, we'll overlook the fact that he had 21 touchdowns with Adam Gase, and as I mentioned, the 64.5 to 65% passer completion percentage. The 36, I said 34, it's actually 3,600 yards passing as a member of the Bears. And I don't think it matters much that he has just about every single Chicago positive passing record in that franchise's history. We look more at the demeanor as fan bases for guys who we don't like. And we think, what? He doesn't care. And he may not. I don't even know. Because I'm not a big fan of his either. But here's what I do know. For as many questions as you may have for Jay Cutler, could you not say the same for Colin Kaepernick? Colin Kaepernick has never completed the percentage of passes that Jay Cutler completed under Adam Gase 2 years ago. Never. His best throwing percentage was 62.5%. Colin Kaepernick has never thrown for as many yards as Jay Cutler threw under Adam Gase. I'm just taking the 1 year. Colin Kaepernick has never thrown more touchdowns than when Jay Cutler threw 21 under Adam Gase. And the difference is a 5-year span. 5 years in terms of Kaepernick's 29, Cutler's 34. So people are all up in arms about this stuff. How can this be? I don't know if people realize this. And it's not like, excuse me, it's not like Jay Cutler is the second coming of Tom Brady. I'm not saying that he's going to be the next Peyton Manning. He's going to be able to do what Peyton Manning did, right? Because Peyton Manning was able to win a Super Bowl at such an advanced age. Jay Cutler's not going to do that. I don't think Miami's in that position. But why are we so surprised at the choice of going with a guy you know, a guy you, dare I say, trust, and it's really up to the head coach more than anybody else, than anything else. And people are, yeah, but Jay Cutler's got a losing record. So does Colin Kaepernick, man. Colin Kaepernick is 28-30 all time. 2 games under 500. Jay Cutler's 3 games under 500 all time. Now, you may not like his demeanor. I don't like it either. You may think he doesn't really care. It's a fair critique. Speculation. And that's all it is speculation. Could you not say the same thing for Colin Kaepernick? And why many people think that he doesn't care either. I'm serious. This is what's being written on a pretty regular basis. How desperate should the Dolphins be? They've taken Jay Cutler over Colin Kaepernick. When did Colin Kaepernick become the greatest thing since sliced bread in terms of football, in terms of quarterbacking? And I'm serious when I say this. What makes everybody suddenly believe that Colin Kaepernick is the only logical choice for something that has an opportunity to be either a backup or a starting QB? He was fantastic in 2013. Fantastic in the sense that, and he was a running quarterback, that his team got to the NFC Championship, right? That his team got to the Super Bowl, and he went 12-4. Now, he completed 58.5% of his passes. I want you to understand that too, okay? When people talk about, it's about winning. Okay, it's about winning for quarterbacks, but there are a number of things that you have to have in order to win. Not just the quarterback. It's key, but it's not just the quarterback. Now, I would remind you this. Matt Stafford completed 58.5% of his passes in 2013 as well. But his team didn't win. His team went 7-9. That's his biggest issue. He had 29 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick had fewer than that. Colin Kaepernick had a really good running game, and he had a hell of a defense. But I don't want to get into the Stafford stuff. I just bring it up as an example. Colin Kaepernick, in the last 2 years as a quarterback, has gone 3-16. 3-16. But everybody acts like, how can you do this guy wrong? How can this guy not be in somebody's camp? Now, in fairness, I would say to many, here's a guy who probably has, not even probably, he definitely has the credentials to be a backup somewhere. Much better opportunity to be a backup somewhere than what he's getting the opportunity to do right now. But the whole PC high horse media going on and on and on about Colin Kaepernick not getting the opportunity that he deserves when Jay Cutler gets his. If you can't understand why a head coach, especially a young head coach, is using a guy that he's used to talking to, relating to, on the same page with, there's a synergy there because they've worked together before. How do you not comprehend that? I want you to think about, put yourself in that situation. Put yourself in Adam Gase's situation. You're a young coach. You're in your second year. You got a ton of things to juggle. a ton of things to worry about. You got your offense in Miami, the same offense you primarily ran in Chicago. You're going to bring in Colin Kaepernick, right? You want to bring in Colin Kaepernick, who is, as I mentioned, 3-16 over the last 2 years, started 11 games in a different system last year, struggled mightily last year, has never completed a high percentage of his passes, but because everybody else feels like he's being blackballed. I mean, everybody from Yahoo to ESPN to Fox to CBS all feel like, oh, you know what? He took a social stance, so nobody wants to bring him on board. I hate to tell you this. There's been plenty of guys, whether it be Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, they've taken social stances. Coaches get paid to win, man. They get paid to win. Adam Gase makes this move because of the familiarity he had or has with Jay Cutler. It's not because Colin Kaepernick has an afro, he decided to kneel for the national anthem, or because he's black. And really, he's half black, half white. It's because of the familiarity and the trust that Gase has with Jay Cutler more than anything else. Shep Shower and Shave is brought to you by, speaking of football, Fifth Avenue, who's ready for your fantasy football draft party. That's right. They're your fantasy football draft headquarters, and I can prove it. And they're proving it to you every single day. Here's what you're going to get when you reserve your draft party at Fifth Avenue. You get a private area. All right, so it's just you. Nobody filtering in you don't want. It's all you. Free Wi-Fi. That's important. A draft board. A server dedicated to helping you enjoy your experience. You get a free large pizza, you get a drink and food special for your league, and you get a fantasy football playbook for each person with 17 weeks of special Fifth Avenue deals. Every different week is a different special. So here's what you got to do. You got to reserve your day and time right now because they're going to fill up fast. When you got something like this going on, it's going to fill up fast. Send in your request to the Fantasy Draft Party at 5th Ave, RoyalOak.com. That's all one word, and fifth is spelled out. It's Fantasy Draft Party at 5th Ave, fifth is written out, RoyalOak.com. Do it today and become the best football commissioner that your fantasy league has ever had. We're brought to you by Nate Noth Designs. See his work on Instagram or on Facebook. Check it out. If you need some signage, if you need something that chooses creativity, involves creativity, Nate Noth is your guy. And we're brought to you by Northwestern Tech. Heating and cooling employers are desperate for trained technicians. You know where they go? Northwestern Tech. HVAC is all they teach. They have perfected their hands-on program for the last 38 years. Folks, you're looking for pay to go up? HVAC Field is seeing their pay potential go way up. And they're able to choose the company that's going to help grow their career. So they go to Northwestern Tech. HVAC companies in the area will tell you. You want to go and learn about HVAC? Northwestern Tech's the place because that's all they do. You can get trained and certified and into the field in only 10 and a half months. Call Northwestern Tech today, 248-358-4006. Thanks for listening to Shep Shower and Shave.